I'm a cookery teacher, Barbara Monks, and today I've got my dear daughter coming to cook with me. So we're going to make a nice pudding. Laura wants to make, she wants to make pineapple upside down pudding, but we're not going to do pineapples, we're going to do plums, because they're just in season in the shops in the moment from Spain, and we've got nice fat plums here. So we're going to cut the edges off those, Laura, and if you look at the plums, you'll see they've got sort of two cheeks. They've got two sort of fat bits, and if you put them with the stalk upwards and then put your knife next to the fat bit, you can cut straight down and you shouldn't hit the...
So you do two sides and then cut off the
and then
extra.
these two spare little bits we can just pop into a dish and they can be used later, and these go ready for the pudding. So just prepare the rest of those. You see that we've got some plums that have been prepared here. And we know we've got enough plums for our dish because we're putting them on a plate that's a similar size to the dish. And then we know when we've got enough to cover the base of the dish. So probably just one last one. You see how then your knife doesn't hit that pit, does it?
It's not very big, is it?
Because otherwise they're difficult to deal with plums. You don't quite know how to cut them up. So that's lovely.
So we're done.
Okay. So the dish that we're going to cook in is the brown dish, and you need to prepare your brown cooking dish. And I've put here 25 grams of butter. This time it is butter. I want you to rub that really thickly over the dish, all the glossy bits of the dish, and get a nice thick layer of fat. Now with pineapple upside down pudding, we do probably quite often grease the dish and then use something like syrup to go in the bottom. But on this occasion we're going to just do it slightly differently. We're going to get a thick layer of butter, really thick, so push it on until you're sort of leaving quite a thick layer of butter.
Does that feel right? Or more?
Even a bit more if you want.
Okay.
And sort of leave some blobs.
Doesn't have to come off, does it? The greaseproof paper was a good idea.
Yeah, that's good. Spread it nice. That's it. Nice and thick. Yes, that's lovely. Because that with the sugar is going to form our sort of fudgy layer over. So some quite little dollops will be alright. It doesn't matter. So you can just be quite liberal with that. Once you've done that, okay. Once you've done that, you can now sprinkle your sugar mixture on. So sprinkle that on quite thickly, and we've mixed. What we've got in there is some dark brown molasses sugar and some caster sugar, just to sort of slacken it up.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you don't get all the big lumps. So you sprinkle that on, about half of it probably.
Half.
So we want about 20 grams of sugar. That's it, lovely. All over the base, and a little bit up the sides if we can. Just sprinkle it on, nice thick layer. And that's going to give us a really fudgy sort of topping.
Does it caramelise when it's heated?
It does. That's exactly what it does. And now you're going to put your plums in, and you can put them face down, or you can put them that way. It doesn't matter.
Is it face down best? Then the juices sort of flow into the sugar,
yeah,
or?
Yeah, I think they would, because the skins are quite tough, aren't they, on plums sometimes?
Because otherwise, would the sponge maybe get quite wet when cooking if it was face up?
So it'd be better to go that way, wouldn't it? And because they're a lovely red colour, aren't they? What other fruits would you like?
Well, I've always really liked the pineapple, traditional pineapple, where you use the rings and then you put bits of cherry in the middle. Yeah. Although actually, I'm not much of a fan of the cherry.
No.
But I have seen people do it with other fruits. I can't really think of anything right now, but
you could
do it with anything,
basically. You could use tin fruit. You could use apricot. Tinned apricots works out quite nicely. So once the dish is ready and prepared, then we can make the cake mixture.
Can I cut this one in half, maybe? Just
push it in, it doesn't matter. They'll shrink a bit and go soft, don't they, when they cook? So just push them down.
There you go.
There we go, that's ready. Now we're going to make the cake mixture, which is really easy, not going to take too long at all. And for that, you can see that we've put the ingredients out. We've got self-raising flour, we've got margarine, we've got caster sugar, and we've got eggs. And they all need to be in about the same sort of amounts, really. So I'm going to ask you to sieve in your flour. And why are you going to sieve it? The reason is we're going to add a little bit of raising agent, if we haven't lost it. Where's the tub gone? A little tub of raising agent.
I'll let you find that while I do this. Is it here? Baking powder?
Yes. Okay. So let's put the raising agent in. So you just want 1 teaspoon. Tip that, just tip it in, and then now you can put
how much flour was this then?
About That's 150 grams of flour. So nicely, yes, a rounded teaspoon, that's fine. Good. And then pop it in. And that's because that little bit of raising agent is going in there because we're going to do all in one.
Okay.
So we're not going to spend ages beating the eggs.
We're not going to whisk up the eggs to get air in them.
No, we're not. So we need that little bit of chemical raising agent. Okay. Then you want your sugar, 150 grams.
So.
You want your margarine, 150 grams, and you want 3 eggs.
Oh, that's simple.
Broken.
150 grams of marg.
And if you weigh those eggs, they would weigh 150 grams as well.
Ah, and is that how you do it? Is that the story that they used to weigh the egg and then match it?
That's right. So if you want to do 2 eggs, that's probably going to be about 100 grams. So you use 100 grams of margarine and 100 grams of sugar. So it's always the sort of same amounts. And we're using soft margarine rather than the butter because obviously if we're doing all in one, you need that softness. And that goes in as well.
And that's everything, is it?
Well, let's think. What have we got?
Sugar, flour, baking powder, eggs, and margarine.
Yeah. And supposing if you were doing pear hearts, which are really nice, you could put cocoa in and make this cake chocolate. Right, grab your mixer. We're going to count to 15. You're going to work that mixer in the bowl. Start slow and then go fast. Yeah, that's it. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Work it round. Don't do it on its own. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. We'll get a couple full up. 18 just run right round the bowl. Does it look like a cake mixture?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you can turn that off. Turn it off first, then lift it out. Good. Excellent, excellent. Pop that over on the unit. Good. And then where did your little scraper go? Here we are.
Over here.
Now we can really just scrape round that bowl, tilt your bowl over that way so everybody can see. That's a lovely, I mean it looks like cake, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So now that wants to go on top of the sponge and then we're going to pop it in the oven to cook, so just dollop it out. You can see we've got a roast dinner, you see in the background, having just a basic roast chicken dinner, all the veg, red cabbage and apple. I'm going to have this as a pudding, so we could have it with some custard or some creme fraiche.
And this is so easy, but I'm sure it's going to be very impressive on the table.
Yes, it looked
It's taken us 2 minutes to make.
And how much would it have cost to buy, to get that size product? Because you can get products, you can buy them, but often they're quite small.
Sorry.
So even in your flat, you reckon you could make this?
Yeah, I mean, I bought a whisk. I bought an electric whisk because I do like to make things.
Use that spreading now.
But I'm not that great, so I was calling Mum to ask for advice. But the whisk was really inexpensive and it's really helped, especially with baking, if you want to make a quick cupcake or something like that. And again, cupcakes the same kind of idea, just the sponge mix,
absolutely,
isn't it?
It's absolutely.
Once you know the sponge mix, you can do tons of different cakes.
You can, and what you could do is do slightly more of this, and then you'd have a bit of the cake mixture left over, and you could make, a little set of cupcakes with the extra. But we didn't need to do that today because there's going to be 4 of us eating it, and we hope if you make this, you also enjoy it.